With alarms blaring and the walls seemingly closing in, Captain Leo Thorne knew they were out of time. The Vraxx soldiers were just outside the door, and escape felt like a distant dream. His crew, seasoned and loyal, had never faced odds this dire. The dim red emergency lights cast eerie shadows over the control room, creating an atmosphere of impending doom. Thorne scanned the room, taking in the tense faces of his crew. Lieutenant Zara Patel was working furiously at her console, sweat trickling down her temple. Next to her, Sergeant Miles O'Reilly was preparing their last defensive measures, his hands steady despite the tension. Ensign Jiro Tanaka stood by the door, weapon in hand, ready to defend his comrades. "Captain, they've breached the outer hull." "We have less than 3 minutes," Patel reported, her voice tight with urgency. Thorne nodded, his mind racing. The mission was supposed to be a simple reconnaissance, but it had turned into a nightmare. The Vraxx, known for their technological superiority and merciless tactics, had been waiting for them. "Options?" Thorne asked, his tone calm but authoritative. "We fight our way out," O'Reilly said, his voice unwavering. "Give them hell and hope we can carve a path to the escape pods." "Too many of them," Tanaka said, shaking his head. "We need a diversion, something to draw them away from our position." Thorne's mind worked quickly. "Zara, can you overload the reactor? Create a feedback loop?" She glanced at him, her eyes widening. "That would cause a meltdown. We have about 2 minutes to get clear before the entire ship goes up." "Do it," Thorne ordered. "Miles, Jiro, prepare to move. We're going to make a run for it." As Patel initiated the sequence, Thorne couldn't help but think about how they had ended up here. Their only chance of survival hinged on a desperate gamble. "Reactor overload in progress." 2 minutes, Patel said, her fingers flying over the console. "All right, everyone, this is it," Thorne said, his voice steady. "We stick together, we move fast, and we don't stop for anything. On my mark." The door shuddered as the Vraxx soldiers began their final assault. Thorne raised his weapon, took a deep breath, and shouted, "Mark!" The door exploded inward, and the crew of the HSS Defiance charged forward into the maelstrom of battle, defying the odds and the void itself. Chapter 1: The Signal. The bridge of the HSS Defiance was bathed in the soft glow of control panels and the distant light of countless stars. Captain Leo Thorne stood at the helm, his eyes fixed on the view screen that displayed the vast, uncharted region of space before them. The crew was busy with their tasks, the hum of the ship's systems a comforting background noise. "Captain, we're picking up a signal," Ensign Jiro Tanaka reported, breaking the quiet focus of the bridge. Thorne turned, curiosity piqued. "What kind of signal, Ensign?" "It's a distress call, sir," Tanaka replied. "The origin is unknown, but the signal's strength suggests it's coming from deep within this uncharted sector." Lieutenant Zara Patel looked up from her console, concern etched on her face. "It could be a trap, Captain. We know little about this region. It might be better to steer clear." Thorne nodded thoughtfully, weighing the risks. "Can we identify the source of the signal?" Tanaka shook his head, frustration evident in his voice. "No, sir. The signal is heavily encrypted. It's unlike anything we've encountered before." Sergeant Miles O'Reilly, who had been silently observing, chimed in. "Captain, if there's even a chance someone needs our help, we have to check it out. We're explorers and protectors. It's our duty." Thorne glanced around the bridge, meeting the eyes of his crew. This was their mission, to explore, to protect, and to defy the unknown. He saw the determination in their faces and made his decision. "Set a course for the signal's coordinates," Thorne ordered. "We'll proceed with caution. Lieutenant Patel, prepare for any contingencies. Sergeant O'Reilly, keep the security teams on high alert." The Defiance's engines roared to life, and the ship surged forward into the unknown. As they drew closer to the signal's origin, the tension on the bridge mounted. The signal grew stronger, its frequency pulsing with a sense of urgency. Approaching the coordinates, Captain Tanaka announced, his voice steady despite the rising tension. We're detecting a large structure ahead. Thorn leaned forward, his eyes narrowing as the view screen resolved into a clear image. A massive alien structure loomed before them, its surface covered in intricate patterns and glowing with an eerie blue light. "Scan the structure," Thorn ordered, his mind racing with possibilities. Patel's fingers flew over her console. "The structure appears to be some kind of derelict ship, Captain. I'm detecting faint power signatures, but it's mostly dormant. There are signs of damage, possibly from a battle." "Prepare an away team," Thorn said decisively. "We'll board the ship and investigate. Sergeant O'Reilly, you're with me. Ensign Tanaka, maintain communication with the away team at all times. Lieutenant Patel, you have the bridge." As Thorn and O'Reilly made their way to the shuttle bay, the crew worked with practiced efficiency. The shuttle bay doors opened, and the away team boarded a sleek, small craft that would take them to the alien ship. "Ready for launch," Captain O'Reilly said, his voice calm and steady. Thorn nodded. "Let's find out who or what is sending that signal." The shuttle launched from the Defiance, cutting through the void toward the mysterious structure. As they approached, Thorn couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to uncover something monumental. The shuttle docked with the derelict ship, and the away team disembarked, weapons at the ready. The air inside the ship was stale, filled with the scent of decay. Dim lights flickered, casting long shadows that danced along the walls. "Stay sharp," Thorn whispered, his voice echoing slightly in the eerie silence. "We don't know what we're walking into." They moved cautiously through the corridors. As they rounded a corner, they came face to face with a massive chamber filled with strange machinery and the source of the distress signal. "It's coming from that console," O'Reilly said, pointing to a glowing panel in the center of the room. Thorn approached the console. As he activated the controls, a holographic image flickered to life. It was a Vraxx, their reptilian features unmistakable. "Warning," the hologram intoned, its voice cold and mechanical. "This vessel is compromised. Do not attempt to board. The Vraxx Empire will not be merciful." Before Thorn could react, the console emitted a burst of energy, and the ship shuddered violently. "Captain, we need to get out of here," O'Reilly shouted, urgency in his voice. Thorn nodded, his mind racing. They had walked into a trap, and now their only hope was to escape with their lives. As they turned to leave, the ship's systems roared to life, and the walls began to close in. "Move, move, move," Thorn yelled, his voice cutting through the chaos. They ran through the twisting corridors, the ship's automated defenses springing to life around them. Laser turrets fired, and security drones emerged from hidden compartments. "Patel, get us out of here," Thorn shouted into his comm. "We're on it, Captain," Patel's voice crackled back, filled with determination. The away team reached the shuttle just as the ship's self-destruct sequence began. They scrambled aboard, and the shuttle's engines roared to life, propelling them away from the doomed vessel. As they sped back to the Defiance, the alien ship erupted in a blinding explosion, sending shockwaves rippling through space. "We made it," O'Reilly said, breathing a sigh of relief. Thorn nodded, his mind still racing. The encounter had raised more questions than answers. Who were the Vraxx, and why had they set this trap? As the Defiance loomed into view, Thorn knew their journey was only just beginning. Chapter 2, The Encounter. The HSS Defiance floated silently in the vastness of space, the crew still reeling from their narrow escape. Captain Leo Thorn stood on the bridge, gazing at the distant stars. His mind churned with questions about the Vraxx and their intentions. "Captain, incoming transmission," Ensign Jiro Tanaka announced, breaking the silence. Thorn turned to face him. "From whom?" "It's from the alien ship, sir." "The one we encountered," Tanaka replied, his eyes wide with surprise. "They're trying to make contact." "On screen," Thorn ordered, his curiosity piqued. The view screen flickered, revealing the battered visage of a Vraxx officer. The alien's scales were a dark green, and its eyes, deep and piercing, glowed with a cold, calculating light. "I am Commander Zarek of the Vraxx Empire," the alien intoned, his voice filled with authority. Identify yourselves. Thorne stepped forward, his posture confident. I am Captain Leo Thorne of the HSS Defiance, representing the United Earth Federation. We received a distress signal from your vessel and attempted to render assistance. Vraxx's eyes narrowed, suspicion evident in his gaze. Your assistance was neither requested nor required, human. Your presence here is an intrusion. We mean no harm, Thorne said, his tone calm and diplomatic. We encountered your ship in distress and acted according to our principles. If you have wounded, we can provide medical aid. Vraxx's lip curled into what might have been a sneer. Your kind is naive, Captain Thorne. This sector is under the dominion of the Vraxx Empire. Your interference will not be tolerated. Before Thorne could respond, the transmission cut off, and alarms began to blare throughout the Defiance. Multiple Vraxx ships inbound, Lieutenant Zara Patel shouted, her fingers flying over the controls. They're arming weapons. Red alert. All hands to battle stations, Thorne barked. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Lieutenant Patel raised shields and charged the weapons. The bridge erupted into a flurry of activity. The view screen displayed the rapidly approaching Vraxx vessels, sleek and menacing, their weapons systems glowing ominously. Incoming fire, Tanaka warned, his voice tense. The Defiance shuddered as the first salvo of energy blasts struck the shields. The crew braced themselves, their training taking over as they moved with practiced efficiency. Return fire, Thorne commanded. Target their weapons and engines. We need to disable them, not destroy them. The Defiance's cannons roared to life, energy beams lancing out towards the Vraxx ships. Explosions lit up the darkness of space as the two forces exchanged volleys. Despite the initial surprise, Thorne's crew fought with tenacity and skill. Captain, our shields are holding, but we can't withstand this for long, Patel reported, her voice steady despite the tension. Thorne nodded, his mind racing. Lieutenant Patel, can you hack into their systems? Disrupt their coordination? Patel's eyes lit up with determination. I can try, Captain. Give me a minute. As Patel worked, the Defiance continued to maneuver through the onslaught. The ship's hull groaned under the strain, but the crew held fast, their resolve unshakable. Got it, Patel exclaimed. I've disrupted their communications and targeting systems. They're in disarray. Thorne seized the opportunity. All ships, focus your fire on the lead vessel. We break their formation, we break their attack. The Defiance and its escort ships concentrated their firepower on the lead Vraxx vessel. The ship erupted in a fiery explosion, its debris scattering into the void. The remaining Vraxx ships faltered, their coordinated assault collapsing into chaos. Captain, the Vraxx are retreating, Tanaka reported, relief evident in his voice. Stand down from red alert, Thorne ordered, his voice calm but authoritative. But keep our defenses up. We don't know if they'll return. As the crew began the task of assessing the damage and making repairs, Thorne stood at the helm, his thoughts a whirlwind. The Vraxx were powerful, and their hostility was clear. But why had they sent a distress signal? And what had driven them to such aggressive action? Captain, we need to discuss our next steps, Patel said, her voice breaking through his reverie. Thorne nodded, his expression serious. Agreed. Gather the senior staff in the briefing room. We need to understand what we're dealing with. As Thorne made his way to the briefing room, he couldn't shake the feeling that the encounter with the Vraxx was just the beginning. The mystery of the distress signal, the damaged ship, and the sudden aggression all pointed to a larger, more sinister threat. Chapter 3, Seeking Allies. The HSS Defiance glided through the serene expanse of space, a stark contrast to the chaos of the recent battle. The crew worked tirelessly to repair the damage. Captain Leo Thorne stood on the bridge, contemplating their next move. Captain, repairs are progressing, but we won't be battle-ready for a while, Lieutenant Zara Patel reported, her voice steady despite the exhaustion. Thorne nodded. We need allies, Lieutenant. The Vraxx are too powerful to face alone. We have to find others who have suffered under their tyranny. Ensign Jiro Tanaka looked up from his console, a thoughtful expression on his face. "Captain, I've been analyzing star charts and ancient records. There's a nearby system known as Eridani Prime. It's rumored to be home to several advanced species. They might be willing to join our cause." Thorn's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. "It's a long shot, but it's our best chance. Set a course for Eridani Prime. Let's hope they're willing to listen." As the Defiance changed course, the crew prepared for what could be a pivotal moment in their struggle against the Vraxx. The journey to Eridani Prime was tense, each member of the crew acutely aware of the stakes. The star system soon came into view, its planets orbiting a vibrant blue sun. Approaching Eridani Prime, Captain Tanaka announced, his voice tinged with anticipation. "I'm detecting multiple space stations and large-scale settlements." "Open a channel," Thorn ordered, his tone resolute. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a council of representatives from various alien species. Their appearances ranged from humanoid to utterly alien, each one distinct and imposing. "I am Captain Leo Thorn of the HSS Defiance, representing the United Earth Federation," Thorn began, his voice strong and confident. "We seek allies in our fight against the Vraxx Empire. They threaten not just humanity, but all free species in this galaxy." A tall, elegant alien with luminous skin and elongated limbs spoke first. "I am High Counselor Tarek of the Lyrathians. We have heard of the Vraxx's ruthless expansion. Why should we risk our people to aid you, human?" Thorn met Tarek's gaze, his expression earnest. "The Vraxx will not stop with us. Their thirst for power knows no bounds. We offer our technology, our strategies, and our unwavering commitment. Together, we stand a chance. Divided, we fall." A grizzled, reptilian representative named Vraxx leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "You speak of commitment. What proof do you offer of your resolve?" Thorn gestured to the screen, displaying footage of the recent battle. "This is what we faced just days ago. The Defiance stood against overwhelming odds, and we emerged victorious. But we can't continue this fight alone. We need your strength, your knowledge, your people." The council members exchanged glances, their expressions ranging from skepticism to cautious optimism. Finally, Tarek spoke again, his tone more contemplative. "We will convene and discuss your proposal. In the meantime, you are welcome to dock and rest. We will contact you with our decision." "Thank you, Counselor Tarek," Thorn said, inclining his head slightly. "We await your decision." As the transmission ended, Thorn turned to his crew, his expression serious but hopeful. "This is a critical moment. We need to make a strong impression. Be on your best behavior and show them the strength of our resolve." The Defiance docked at one of the massive space stations orbiting Eridani Prime. The crew took the opportunity to rest, repair, and gather their thoughts. Thorn knew that this alliance could turn the tide in their favor, but he also understood the delicate nature of interspecies diplomacy. Days passed, each one filled with tense anticipation. Finally, the call came. The council had reached a decision. Thorn and his senior staff gathered in the briefing room, awaiting the news. The view screen flickered to life, and Counselor Tarek's face appeared, his expression composed. "Captain Thorn, the Council has decided to aid you in your fight against the Vraxx. Our resources are at your disposal. We will form a united front." A wave of relief and triumph washed over Thorn and his crew. "Thank you, Counselor Tarek. Together, we will stand against the Vraxx and ensure freedom for all." Tarek nodded, his eyes reflecting a shared determination. "Prepare your forces, Captain. We will coordinate our efforts and plan our first joint operation. The Vraxx will not know what hit them." As the Defiance and its new allies began to strategize and prepare, Thorn felt a renewed sense of hope. They had taken the first step towards unity, towards a chance to defy the odds and protect the galaxy from the Vraxx threat. The battle was far from over, but now they were not alone. Together, they would face the darkness and emerge victorious. Chapter 4: Unraveling Secrets. The HSS Defiance, now part of a formidable alliance, glided through space with renewed purpose. The crew, buoyed by their new allies, worked tirelessly to integrate the new technology and knowledge shared by their extraterrestrial partners. Captain Leo Thorne stood on the bridge, contemplating their next move. "Captain, incoming transmission from Counselor Tarek," Ensign Jiro Tanaka reported, breaking the quiet focus of the bridge. "On screen," Thorne ordered, turning to face the view screen. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the serene visage of High Counselor Tarek. "Captain Thorne, we have discovered something that may be of great importance. Our historians and scientists have uncovered ancient records detailing the origins and weaknesses of the Vraxx Empire. You should come to our central archives immediately." "We'll be there," Thorne replied, his curiosity piqued. As the Defiance docked with the Lyrathian Central Archives, Thorne, Lieutenant Zara Patel, and Sergeant Miles O'Reilly disembarked, eager to learn more. The Central Archives were an impressive structure, filled with ancient artifacts and advanced technology. Counselor Tarek greeted them personally. "Follow me," Tarek said, leading them through a series of corridors to a vast chamber lined with holographic displays and ancient tomes. These records were discovered deep within our oldest vaults. They speak of the Vraxx's rise to power and, more importantly, their potential vulnerabilities. Thorne, Patel, and O'Reilly gathered around a central display as Tarek activated it. The holographic projection showed a vast star map, with the Vraxx Empire's territory highlighted. "The Vraxx were not always the dominant force they are today," Tarek explained. "They were once a fractured and war-torn race, until a powerful artifact known as the Celestial Core united them. It is said that the core grants immense power and control over technology. If we can find and neutralize it, we might weaken the Vraxx significantly." Patel's eyes widened with realization. "Do we have any idea where this Celestial Core is located?" Tarek nodded, his expression serious. "The records are vague, but they suggest that the core is hidden on a remote and heavily guarded Vraxx world known as Celoria. It will not be easy to reach, and even harder to infiltrate." O'Reilly's expression was grim but determined. "Sounds like a suicide mission. But if it gives us a chance to defeat the Vraxx, it's worth the risk." Thorne nodded, his mind already formulating a plan. "We'll need to gather as much intelligence as possible. Lieutenant Patel, work with the Lyrathians to analyze these records in greater detail. Sergeant O'Reilly, start prepping our teams for a covert operation. This mission will require precision and secrecy." As the crew of the Defiance and their Lyrathian allies began to work together, the tension in the air was palpable. They were on the brink of a discovery that could turn the tide of the war, but the risks were immense. Thorne could see the resolve in his crew's eyes, a reflection of his own determination. Days turned into weeks as they pored over the ancient records, piecing together clues and formulating strategies. Patel worked tirelessly with Lyrathian scientists, her technical expertise proving invaluable. O'Reilly trained the security teams, instilling in them the importance of discipline and teamwork. One evening, as Thorne sat in his quarters reviewing the latest intelligence, Patel and O'Reilly entered, their faces alight with excitement. "Captain, we've made a breakthrough," Patel said, her eyes sparkling. "We've pinpointed a potential location for the Celestial Core on Celoria. It's deep within a heavily fortified mountain range, but we believe we can infiltrate it using a combination of stealth and diversion tactics." O'Reilly nodded, his expression resolute. "Our teams are ready, Captain. We've been running simulations and drills. We'll need to move fast and hit hard, but I believe we can do this." Thorne stood, his resolve hardening. "Then it's decided. We'll launch a reconnaissance mission first to gather more data and ensure we can execute the main operation without unnecessary risk. We'll coordinate with our allies to create a diversion, drawing Vraxx forces away from the target." The Defiance's engines roared to life as they set course for Celoria, the crew bracing themselves for the challenges ahead. As they approached the remote Vraxx world, the tension on the ship was almost tangible. They had come so far, faced so much, and now they stood on the brink of a mission that could change the fate of the galaxy. The reconnaissance mission went smoothly, thanks to the meticulous planning and coordination between the Defiance and their allies. They gathered crucial data about the Vraxx defenses and the terrain around the Celestial Core's location. Thorn felt a glimmer of hope. They had a chance, slim though it might be, to strike a decisive blow against their enemy. As they returned to the Defiance to finalize their plans, the weight of the upcoming mission settled over the crew. Each member knew the risks, but they also knew what was at stake. Humanity's survival, and the freedom of countless other species, hung in the balance. "Prepare for infiltration," Thorn ordered, his voice steady and firm. "This is our moment. We will strike at the heart of the Vraxx and show them that their tyranny will not go unchallenged. Together, we will defy the void." The crew responded with a unified, determined affirmation. They were ready. The battle for Zaloria, and the future of the galaxy, was about to begin. Chapter 5, The Infiltration. The HSS Defiance approached the remote world of Zaloria under the cover of darkness, the planet's surface obscured by thick, swirling clouds. The crew was on high alert, every system optimized for stealth. Captain Leo Thorn stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the view screen displaying the ominous landscape below. "Prepare the infiltration team," Thorn ordered. "We move in fast, gather what we need, and get out before the Vraxx even know we're there." Lieutenant Zara Patel, Sergeant Miles O'Reilly, and a hand-picked team of the ship's best operatives gathered in the shuttle bay, ready for the mission ahead. Each one of them wore advanced stealth suits designed to minimize their heat signatures and muffle their movements. "Remember, our primary objective is to locate and neutralize the Celestial Core," Thorn reminded them over the comm. "Stay focused, stay together, and stay alive. Good luck." The shuttle descended through the thick clouds, breaking through to reveal the rugged, mountainous terrain below. As they neared their landing zone, the landscape became more distinct, jagged peaks, deep ravines, and fortified Vraxx structures embedded in the cliffs. "Landing in 3, 2, 1, O'Reilly announced as the shuttle touched down in a narrow canyon, shielded from view by the towering rock walls. The team disembarked, weapons at the ready, and moved swiftly through the shadows, their movements synchronized and silent. Patel led the way, her engineering expertise crucial for bypassing the Vraxx security systems they would undoubtedly encounter. "Scans indicate the entrance to the core's chamber is just ahead," Patel whispered, consulting her handheld device. "We're on the right track." The team advanced, navigating the treacherous terrain with practiced precision. They reached a heavily guarded entrance, flanked by Vraxx soldiers. The tension was palpable as they prepared to breach the defenses. O'Reilly signaled to the team, and they moved into position. With a nod from Thorn, who monitored the mission from the Defiance, the team launched their attack. Silenced weapons took down the guards with pinpoint accuracy, and Patel quickly hacked the security panel, opening the massive doors with a soft hiss. They slipped inside, the air growing colder and more oppressive as they descended deeper into the Vraxx stronghold. The corridors were lined with strange, pulsating machinery, casting eerie shadows that danced along the walls. "Stay alert," O'Reilly whispered. "We don't know what we're walking into." As they ventured further, the team encountered more resistance. Vraxx soldiers patrolled the corridors, their movements precise and disciplined. The infiltrators moved like shadows, taking out patrols with silent efficiency. They reached a massive chamber, its walls adorned with intricate carvings and glowing symbols. At the center stood the Celestial Core, a pulsating sphere of energy radiating immense power. "There it is," Patel breathed, awe in her voice. "The source of their strength." "Let's disable it and get out of here," O'Reilly said, his voice steady and determined. Patel approached the core, her hands deftly working to disable the intricate security systems. As she worked, the chamber's alarms suddenly blared to life, red lights flashing ominously. "We've been detected," Patel shouted. "I need more time." "Hold them off," O'Reilly ordered, the team forming a defensive perimeter around Patel. Vraxx soldiers poured into the chamber, weapons blazing. The Defiance team fought back with everything they had. Thorn's voice crackled over the comm, urging them to hold the line. Patel, we need that core offline now. Thorne's voice was strained with urgency. Almost there, Patel replied, her fingers flying over the controls. The battle intensified. The Defiance team was outnumbered and outgunned, but their resolve never wavered. "Captain, we've got a problem," O'Reilly shouted. "We're being overrun." "Just a few more seconds," Patel screamed, sweat pouring down her face. With a final surge of effort, Patel bypassed the last security measure, and the celestial core began to destabilize. The pulsating energy grew erratic, the chamber trembling as the core's power faltered. "Core is disabled." "Let's move," Patel yelled, her voice echoing in the chamber. The team fell back, fighting their way through the onslaught of Vraxx soldiers. As they reached the entrance, the ground shook violently, the core's destabilization causing a chain reaction. "Get to the shuttle, now," O'Reilly ordered, urgency driving his voice. They sprinted through the corridors, the walls crumbling around them. The shuttle's engines roared to life as the team scrambled aboard, the pilot lifting off just as the entire structure began to collapse. "Punch it," O'Reilly shouted, and the shuttle rocketed away from the crumbling fortress. The Defiance loomed into view, the shuttle docking with a smooth precision. Thorne met the team in the shuttle bay, his face a mix of relief and pride. "Welcome back," Thorne said, his voice warm. "You did it." Patel and O'Reilly nodded, exhaustion etched into their features. "The core is disabled," Patel confirmed, her voice steady but tired. "The Vraxx will be reeling from this." As the Defiance pulled away from Zaloria, the crew's spirits lifted. They had struck a significant blow against the Vraxx, but they knew the war was far from over. The Vraxx would not take this defeat lightly, and retaliation was inevitable. "Captain, we're picking up multiple Vraxx ships on an intercept course," Tanaka reported from the bridge, his voice tense. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," Thorne ordered, his voice calm but authoritative. "We're not out of this yet." The Defiance and its crew had faced insurmountable odds and emerged victorious. But as they sped away from the collapsing Vraxx stronghold, Thorne knew that their greatest challenges still lay ahead. The battle for survival, and the fight for freedom, had only just begun. Chapter 6, The Turning Point. The HSS Defiance navigated through the void of space with a newfound sense of urgency. The recent victory against the Vraxx had come at a great cost, and Captain Leo Thorne knew that their enemies would not let this affront go unanswered. The bridge was a hive of activity as the crew prepared for the inevitable retaliation. "Captain, the Vraxx ships are closing in fast," Ensign Jiro Tanaka reported, his voice tense. "They're coordinating their movements. It looks like they're planning a pincer maneuver." Thorne nodded, his mind racing. "Lieutenant Patel, do we have enough power to execute a short warp jump?" Patel, her face still showing signs of exhaustion from the recent mission, quickly checked the ship's systems. "We can manage a short jump, but it will drain our reserves. We'll need time to recharge." Thorne weighed the options. "Do it. Plot a course to these coordinates," he said, pointing to a sector of space filled with asteroids. "We can use the asteroids for cover and buy ourselves some time." The Defiance's engines roared to life, the ship making a brief but intense warp jump. They emerged in the midst of a dense asteroid field, the massive rocks spinning lazily in the vacuum of space. "Engage silent running," Thorne ordered. "Let's see if we can lose them in the debris." The ship's lights dimmed, and the hum of the engines quieted as the Defiance slipped into the shadows. The crew held their breath, the tension palpable. "Vraxx ships entering the field," Tanaka whispered. "They're searching for us." The Defiance drifted silently, the crew watching the view screen with a mix of hope and fear. The Vraxx ships prowled the asteroid field, their sensors sweeping the area. "Hold steady," Thorne murmured. "Wait for my signal." Minutes felt like hours as the Vraxx ships searched the asteroids. Just when it seemed they might pass by, one of the enemy vessels altered course, heading straight for the Defiance's hiding spot. "They found us," Patel said, her voice barely a whisper. "Prepare for combat," Thorne ordered. "Target their engines and weapons. We need to disable them, not destroy them." The Defiance powered up its systems, the ship springing to life. Energy beams lanced out from their cannons, striking the Vraxx ship with pinpoint accuracy. Explosions rippled across the enemy vessel as its engines sputtered and died. "-1 down," Tanaka reported. "The others are closing in." "Deploy countermeasures," Thorne ordered. "Let's give them something to chase." The Defiance launched a series of decoys and sensor jammers, creating a chaotic array of signals that confused the Vraxx sensors. The ship darted through the asteroid field, using the debris for cover. "Captain, I'm detecting a large structure on the far side of the asteroid field," Patel said. "It looks like an old mining station." Thorne's mind raced. "We can use it for cover." "Set a course." The Defiance weaved through the asteroids, the Vraxx ships struggling to keep up. They reached the mining station, a massive, abandoned complex half buried in the asteroid. The ship slipped inside, the shadows of the structure providing much-needed concealment. "Silent running again," Thorne ordered. "We need to stay hidden until they pass." The Vraxx ships arrived moments later, their sensors sweeping the area. The crew watched in tense silence as the enemy vessels searched the mining station. Come on," O'Reilly muttered under his breath. After what felt like an eternity, the Vraxx ships turned and left the area, their sensors unable to penetrate the thick layers of rock and metal. "They're leaving," Tanaka said, a note of relief in his voice. "We did it." The crew let out a collective sigh of relief, the tension in the air dissipating. "Good work, everyone," Thorne said, his voice filled with pride. "But we're not out of the woods yet. Patel, start recharging the warp drive. We need to be ready to move at a moment's notice." "Aye, Captain," Patel replied, her focus already back on the controls. As the crew set about their tasks, Thorne took a moment to reflect. They had managed to evade the Vraxx, but it was clear that their enemies were becoming more determined and aggressive. They needed a new plan, something that could turn the tide once and for all. "Captain," Patel called out, breaking his reverie. "I think I've found something." The mining station's logs indicate that it was abandoned after a significant discovery. There's mention of an experimental weapon, something the Vraxx might not be aware of. Thorne's interest was piqued. "What kind of weapon?" Patel shook her head, her expression serious. "The logs are incomplete, but it sounds like it could be a game-changer. We need to investigate further." Thorne nodded, his mind already formulating a plan. "Agreed. Gather a team and prepare to explore the station. This could be the turning point we've been looking for." As the crew prepared to explore the abandoned mining station, Thorne felt a renewed sense of hope. They had survived the Vraxx's relentless pursuit, and now they had a chance to find something that could shift the balance of power. The journey ahead was fraught with danger, but Thorne knew that they had the strength and resolve to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The Defiance and its crew were ready to defy the odds once more, to stand against the darkness and fight for the future of humanity and their newfound allies. The battle was far from over, but Thorne was determined to lead them to victory, no matter the cost. Chapter 7, The Final Battle. The abandoned mining station loomed around the HSS Defiance like a ghost from another era, its dark corridors and dormant machinery whispering secrets of the past. Captain Leo Thorne stood on the bridge, his mind focused on the task ahead. The crew had prepared meticulously for this moment, their hope pinned on finding the experimental weapon that could turn the tide against the Vraxx. "Team, ready for deployment," Sergeant Miles O'Reilly reported. The away team was equipped with advanced scanners and weapons, prepared for anything they might encounter in the depths of the station. "Let's move out," Thorne ordered. "Patel, you have the bridge. Keep our position hidden and monitor for any Vraxx activity." Lieutenant Zara Patel nodded. "Aye, Captain." "Good luck." Thorne and O'Reilly led the away team into the station, the air growing colder and more oppressive as they ventured deeper. The corridors were lined with old mining equipment, long since abandoned, and the occasional flicker of malfunctioning lights cast eerie shadows. "Scanners are picking up something ahead," O'Reilly said, his voice hushed. "It looks like a central control room." They advanced cautiously, weapons at the ready. The control room was a vast chamber filled with ancient consoles and holographic displays. At the center stood a large, imposing device, its purpose unclear but its power unmistakable. "This must be it," Thorne said, approaching the device. "Patel, are you seeing this?" "Yes, Captain," Patel's voice crackled over the comm. "It appears to be some kind of energy weapon, far more advanced than anything we've encountered. If we can activate it, it could be a game changer." "Let's get to work," Thorne said. "O'Reilly, secure the area. Patel, guide me through the activation sequence." As Thorne and Patel worked to bring the weapon online, the tension in the air was palpable. The station's systems groaned to life, ancient machinery whirring and clanking as the device powered up. Lights flickered, and a low hum filled the room. "Captain, I'm detecting a massive energy buildup," Patel warned. "We need to be careful. This thing could be unstable." Thorne's fingers flew over the controls, following Patel's precise instructions. "We're almost there. Just a little more." Suddenly, alarms blared, and the station shook violently. "Captain, we've got company," O'Reilly shouted. "Vraxx ships inbound." "Patel, how much longer?" Thorne demanded, his voice tense. "Just a few more seconds," Patel replied, her voice strained. The Defiance's sensors lit up as the Vraxx fleet descended upon them. The enemy ships opened fire, their energy beams cutting through the asteroid field and striking the station. The Defiance returned fire, its cannons blazing. "We can't hold them off much longer," O'Reilly yelled, the sound of battle echoing through the comm. "Almost there," Thorne shouted, his hands moving with lightning speed. With a final surge of effort, the device roared to life, a brilliant beam of energy erupting from its core. The weapon's power surged through the station, and the Vraxx ships in its path were instantly vaporized, their debris scattering into the void. "We did it," Patel exclaimed, her voice filled with relief. "All units, fall back to the Defiance," Thorne ordered. "We're getting out of here." The away team sprinted back through the corridors, the station continuing to shake as the weapon's energy radiated outwards. They boarded the shuttle and raced back to the Defiance, docking just as the station began to collapse. "Punch it, Tanaka," Thorne ordered as they reached the bridge. "Get us out of here." The Defiance's engines roared to life, and the ship shot away from the collapsing station. The view screen displayed the Vraxx fleet in disarray, their formation broken by the sudden and devastating attack. "Captain, the Vraxx are retreating," Tanaka reported, his voice filled with disbelief. "We did it. We really did it." Thorne allowed himself a moment of respite, the bridge falling into a tense silence. They had struck a significant blow against the Vraxx, but the cost had been high. The crew's faces reflected a mix of exhaustion and determination. "Stand down from battle stations," Thorne ordered. "We need to assess the damage and regroup." This was just the beginning. The Vraxx won't stop until they've achieved their goal, whatever it may be. As the crew began the arduous task of repairs and recovery, Thorne knew that the battle had only just begun. The Vraxx were a formidable foe, and the Defiance would need every ounce of ingenuity and resilience to withstand the trials that lay ahead. The mystery of the Vraxx and their intentions loomed large, and Thorne was determined to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. The Defiance and its crew had faced insurmountable odds and emerged victorious. But as they sped away from the collapsing Vraxx stronghold, Thorne knew that their greatest challenges still lay ahead. The battle for survival, and the fight for freedom, had only just begun. The HSS Defiance floated serenely through the vast expanse of space, the stars twinkling in the infinite void. The ship and its crew had survived countless battles, forged alliances, and discovered secrets that would shape the future of the galaxy. Now, they were finally able to take a moment to reflect on their journey. Captain Leo Thorne stood on the bridge, gazing out at the stars. The scars of their battles were evident on the ship's hull, but the spirit of the crew was unbroken. Around him, the crew went about their duties with a sense of calm determination. Lieutenant Zara Patel approached, her expression serene. "Captain, the final repairs are complete. The Defiance is ready for whatever comes next." Thorne nodded, a sense of pride filling his chest. "Thank you, Zara." It's been a long journey, but we made it. And we couldn't have done it without every single one of you. Sergeant Miles O'Reilly joined them, his usual stern expression softened by a rare smile. We gave the Vraxx a fight they'll never forget. But what's next, Captain? The galaxy is still a dangerous place. Thorne turned to face his senior officers, his gaze steady. We've proven that together, we can overcome any challenge. The Vraxx have retreated, but they'll be back. And there are other threats out there, waiting to test us. Ensign Jiro Tanaka chimed in, his eyes bright with curiosity. So, what do we do now, Captain? Where do we go from here? Thorne smiled, a sense of determination in his eyes. We continue to explore, to seek out new allies, and to defend those who cannot defend themselves. We've shown that unity and resilience can defy even the greatest odds. And that's a lesson worth sharing. Dr. Alara Mason nodded, her voice filled with quiet conviction. In the darkest moments, it's our unity that lights the path forward. Alone, we are vulnerable, but together, we are unstoppable. Thorne turned back to the view screen, his heart filled with hope. We have a long road ahead of us, but I have no doubt that we will face it with the same courage and determination that has brought us this far. As the Defiance continued its journey through the stars, the crew reflected on the wisdom they had gained. They had faced fearsome enemies and uncovered ancient secrets, but their greatest strength lay in their unity and resilience. In the coming days, the Defiance would encounter new challenges and forge new alliances. They would explore uncharted territories and defend the innocent from threats old and new. But they would do so with the knowledge that together, they could overcome any obstacle. Captain Thorne stood tall, his gaze fixed on the horizon of stars. Set a course for the unknown, he ordered. The adventure continues. As the ship surged forward, the stars ahead seemed to shine a little brighter, a promise of new adventures and the unyielding spirit of humanity. The Defiance and its crew were ready to face whatever came next, united in their mission and their hope for the future. In the end, it was their defiance in the void that would become their legacy, a testament to the enduring power of courage, unity, and the human spirit. If you enjoyed Defiance in the Void, make sure to check out another exciting adventure from the Sci-Fi Story Vault channel, appearing on your screen now. Click to dive into more epic space battles, intriguing mysteries, and unforgettable characters. Don't miss out on the next thrilling story.